Any reason you rolled through that stop?
I'm sorry.
That's your son?
Yes. Any ID for the boy?
Yeah.
Watch the stops.
To a 2018 red Mustang belonging to a Rodrigo Ramirez.
Rise and shine, homie! Rise and shine!
First shift 6:30, second shift 12:30. Last shift till 11, and boom, lights out at midnight. You crush it.
I know there's more of them in there.
Well, fake passport isn't going to cut it.
Yes, sir.
These people have no criminal history whatsoever.
Kind of busy shin.
The busy kind.
We've got evidence that they're harboring illegals.
Request for warrant denied.
Copy that.
I'd quit poking around. Catch my drift?
What is the truth? The truth is that as much as we want to be free, we live and we die together. This is America.
All right, what's up, everybody? This is Ovalle Inspiración. Hope you guys are good. I hope wherever you are, if you guys are in the north or other states that is freezing cold, I'm sorry. Because I hear that Michigan was negative 18 degrees. Oh my goodness. And Miami, we got a little bit of a cold, but Miami don't really get cold. At least for me, because I'm originally from New Jersey, so I know what that cold is. But anyways, today we have a special guest. I'm super, super excited for this. Never expected this. So I'm going to bring her on the stage. And we have Cornnne Devaney, right? Did I say it right?
Yeah.
All right. So Cornnne Devaney from Manor House Films. And you are probably thinking, what was that trailer? What was that movie about? What does that have to do with Corinne and this and that? But we're going to get into that. So Corinne, how are you?
I'm great. Thank you. I'm so happy to be on here.
Yes, that's awesome. So just to start off, let our viewers know who you are.
Okay. As I already said, my name's Corinne. I work for Manor House Films. It's a production company based on making movies that matter, that have a really important purpose. So only a year ago, really this past February, my dad and I really came together and we watched a couple of movies that there was one movie in particular that was in the process of coming out, but needed more funding. And it was called City of Dreams. It was created by a director. He's Indian and he grew up in India. His parents definitely had a hard life. His father was in the labor trafficking business. He was working in a sweatshop. He unfortunately died. His mother also died while he was in India. And he ended up investing his mother's life insurance policy in making a story and directing a story in dedication to them both and to the hardships of his father. He moved to LA to get into the movie business and realized that the LA garment district has had a lot of injustice in the past 20 years, dating back to the 90s. The first cases of modern slavery came in with the El Monte case in the 90s with Thai workers that were promised a new life and employment in the US and were basically held as slaves in a sweatshop for over 6 years. And so he was inspired by this story and was able to use it to kind of create his own story that had to do with the Mexican border, and I will go into later, has become a bigger issue of migrant children crossing in. And so it's very relevant now.
Yeah.
And really, when we finished watching it, we were crying our eyes out. And it really opened things in us that obviously not many people know a lot of the facts about human trafficking. And so it really opened us up to that. And it opened us up to how are the ways that we can help. And at the end of the day, my dad was like, I want to put in as much as my funding I have possible to make sure that this becomes a movie, and specifically to make sure that it's shown in the amount of theaters it could be.
Yeah.
At the time, it probably was only going to go into 100 theaters, and we got it up to 1,000, which was
Nice.
incredible. And from there, we decided to make this a long-term mission to continue looking and finding directors, screenwriters that have ideas for stories that are very relevant today. And so I found myself in a really special spot where I get to do the thing I love, to give important messages that need to be talked about. And I'm really happy to be here today with you.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So I remember I met you. Well, I didn't meet you in person, but it was this October 10th, I believe it was, when we had the walk for anti-human trafficking, and you were there, and you got to share a little bit of the movie and whatnot. And but I already seen the movie when it actually came out in September, I think 9th or 10th, in Aventura Mall, with a bunch of people. Like we rented out the whole theater inside, and it was such an amazing movie. Obviously, we had last year, 2 years ago, The Sound of Freedom, and I'm sure you've seen that one. That one was specifically sex trafficking, which was super hard to watch as well. And then now we have labor trafficking, and people, when people hear human trafficking, they just think of labor or sex trafficking, but in reality, there's a whole bunch of human trafficking is just the umbrella. Then you got the others, the sex trafficking, the labor trafficking. You got in other countries in Africa, like the child soldiers, they force them to, become soldiers at a young age, and they kill their parents, take them away from them. So all these kind of things, forced marriages, that's happening in other parts of the world as well. But if I'm not mistaken, I believe when it comes to human trafficking, labor trafficking makes up the most, and then I think sex trafficking. And it makes so much sense given the border, the immigration, and so many immigrants traveling or coming to this country, and they just don't have anything. They may just have an idea, and they strip from them, and they have to work right under somebody in a sweatshop, and they're not really getting paid, and they're working so many hours, and the living condition is not the best. It's sad, and I'm glad that I got to meet you also on December 8th for an Art Basel week. And that was an awesome event as well. And now I have you now, which is a privilege. And like I said, I never saw this coming. It was just wow. But that's what happens when you put yourself out there and you make connections with people, and things work out. So I'm happy to have you here. But before we go on more into Manor House Films and the movie and upcoming projects, tell us a little bit about your background.
Okay, so I'm Miami born and raised, and
Oh,
my family is also born and raised on the little island of Key Biscayne off of downtown Miami.
I love going
Back,
there.
back when it was really nothing compared to it is now, developed and crazy. We still live there now, along with my grandparents, which is so great. So yeah, my parents grew up like a street over from each other, and they knew each other growing up. My dad faced a lot of hardships in his life. He kind of went from having very attentive parents to them splitting up, and his dad and a lot of his family has alcoholism in their blood. And it really got to his father and his brother. And although my dad was a really hard worker and definitely overcompensated for a lot of the hardships that were going on in his family, he lost both of them to addiction in the span of 2 years, and it was really hard on him. But I think with that, also kind of why he resonates with the movie so much, with the director and how he had lost his parents. It kind of gave him the real dedication to really, really work hard in life and get a scholarship. And from there, kind of learn the different ways of real estate, a lot of different things. He was very ahead of his time, and
Yeah.
specifically at a young age, learned a lot about how the financial works very quickly. And he had a couple jobs out of college, and then out of nowhere was really so good in sales. He was able to open up his own broker dealer at the age of 29, which is almost a record, and really just make his own business for himself, selling bonds. And
Oh,
he does
wow.
that to his day. And I'm so proud of everything he's been able to accomplish in his life, because he's a real giver. He has done everything to give to me, give to all of my family, as extended family as possible, and make sure we're all together. And really, with everything he's gotten in his life and in his work, he's dedicated to philanthropy as well.
Nice.
And this new project of philanthropy specifically has been in the movie industry. So really, whatever movie we're doing, it's going to a cause, and we're opening a foundation for this cause. And he's really putting a lot of his what he makes
Yeah.
into the purpose itself as well.
Nice. That is awesome. So Manor House Films, all right? How did that come up?
So it, as I was explaining a bit earlier, it happened in February. My dad saw two different films. One was just a script, and one was City of Dreams. The other one is very interesting as well. It's about power and politics, and I don't want to give too much away. It's coming out in May, but it's another story about addiction and how painful it can be on families. And it definitely resonated with him, and was able to have him open up a lot of things that he's never told to me and about his life, because he's felt so healed by this project. The director of the movie will be called The Prince, David Mamet. He's nominated for a lot of Pulitzer Prizes. He's a fantastic writer.
Wow.
He's sober, and the lead actor of the movie ended up bringing him to his first AA meeting, and then getting him into rehab because he was having issues. The lead actor of the movie is sober. Two of the other executive producers in the movie, besides my father, are also sober. So it's really a big support group within this film that I think is really special for him. So although it is a big investment in a new way of business, my dad's very good at the different kinds of businesses he does. It's also kind of his baby, his support, and something just different he's decided to do. And so I was just graduating from college. I have studied basically my whole kind of career in finance. I'm completely registered to be a trader. And out of nowhere, this comes in and is the most unique and special opportunity I could ever be given, to learn about a totally different industry, to be able to give back in such an incredible way, learn the ways of, I guess, Hollywood and LA, which is very different from kind of what we have here in Miami.
Right.
And so it's created something really special. We in the first 2 months after I came back, we hired on 3 other team members for social media and things like that. And so we've created this really collaborative space to help market City of Dreams after kind of its initial release into theaters. It definitely, we want it to have the power and like the remembrance that Sound of Freedom did. It really struck the country. And we feel that City of Dreams still has the power to do that. And a lot of these movies take time. I've learned from doing Manor House Films is that a lot of films don't get the hype that they do like
Yeah.
in the first 6 months, and then things get a lot better afterwards. So we're testing and finding the different ways we can bring in our community, with this month being Human Trafficking Prevention Month being a great way to
Right,
kickstart it
right.
all.
That's perfect. Yeah, yeah, you're right. And the good thing about, I mean, yeah, the good thing about it is that um the fact that human trafficking is worldwide, I mean, nothing good about that, but the fact that everything is happening worldwide and more people are talking about it now. The government is more on it, even though I have my issues with government in many ways, but but they're talking about it more. At least our governor in this state is talking about it more, and ever since the Sound of Freedom movie came out, it just started blowing out of proportion. Everybody just talking about it, and I'm thankful for that, because that was a great movie. And the person that played Tim Ballard and Jacob Zevio, right? He played Tim Ballard, and the work that Tim Ballard is actually doing on the front lines in Mexico and Venezuela and all these other countries with the government and working at the border, like, man, that's some tough work. It's not for everybody. And then
No.
now City of Dreams, and it's labor trafficking, but the talk and people are talking about it more, and I'm gonna continue doing my best to keep talking about it and bring out more of the movie and let others know, and because it's needed. Like, we don't want it. I know we don't want it to be just another movie with emotions, and we feel one way today, and then tomorrow we go on our day and live how we were before. No, we need to do something about it.
Exactly.
From the start of education, awareness, and then from there, whatever else God leads them to do. But it has to start somewhere. And as of me, as a father of the two kids, I can't stay shut. I just can't. You know. So that is awesome.
God
And what
bless
is
you.
yeah, yeah. So what is your role in Manor House Films? What do you do?
So my dad has been very busy kind of running his own business to fund this business, because a lot of movie making is making investments in things, and some things work, some things don't. It's crazy knowing what people like, and everything that happens in social media. And because I have more of a business background,
Mhm.
I'm helping to work on a bunch of different deals for City of Dreams right now. A lot of different international distribution deals. We're hoping to partner with Paramount to get the movie out
Mm,
to Mexico first, for sure. Having most of the actors from Mexico
yeah.
doing a crazy premiere there, and having everyone there see it is really important to us,
Mhm.
because the story kind of is spreading awareness for a lot of parents who, in many cases, could think that their children could have a better life on the other
Right.
side, and
Exactly.
people who can't care for big families and
Mhm.
feel like that there is another way, when a lot of the times, time and time again, we've done a lot of research on the subject, with 300,000 children getting lost to the Department of Homeland Security, and just we have no contact with them. They're in the country,
Yeah.
and no one knows where they are. And
Absolutely.
we
That's
want to stop that from happening at the end of the day.
Mhm.
We could put trust in the government to have a better vetting process of the sponsors that are taking the children into the US and taking care of
Mhm.
them. But at the same time, we really need to help the source and help the parents.
Yeah.
So this international distribution deal will be great. We're working with a lot of different human trafficking organizations, such as A21, that are gonna
Mhm.
really make it um, make it way more accessible, like in bus systems. Like,
Mhm.
they have a lot of ways to market the movie.
Yeah.
And, so hopefully that happens coming in these next couple months. We also had to deal with airlines and
Mhm.
cruise liners that we've finished. So getting it on planes will be great as
Oh
well.
my gosh, that would be so cool.
And the one deal that we're trying really hard to do is do a screening for the president and at the Mar-a-Lago Club in Palm Beach. And
Yeah.
we networked with a lot of people. One of the executive producers of the film was Vivek Ramaswamy. He's very close to the president now, and he really cares about the topic. And now that he is in office, it will be very important to get him, because of his passion for this movie, to really spread the word to people that have powerful voices and can spread the word and make a difference.
Right. Yeah.
The same thing happened for Sound of Freedom. Trump screened it at his New Jersey Country Club. Things exploded. And so we're hoping that setting something up like this is going to really spark a lot of our national kind of talk about the movie. And then we can go international and really get it everywhere. So
nice.
Yeah, that's been my work. I've been the businesswoman on the job for trying to get certain things done.
That's really good. Always on your foot, going everywhere you gotta go. That's awesome. So my question is, okay, obviously you said you had the executive producers that know such and such, but you had people like Mel Gibson promoting this movie, and this is not just anybody. This is Mel Gibson, and he was just on the Joe Rogan show, and that went viral too. But Mel Gibson, Ramaswamy, like you mentioned, then you got the Iron Mike Tyson. Like, how did that happen? Like, where are these connections coming from to get these celebrities, get to know about this movie and endorse it?
So before the movie came out, our biggest marketing strategy was through connections, really. We co-produced it with Wolfington Media, someone who also grew up or became friends with my dad, and we live in the same place. He's a great other producer that lives in Miami, and he knows everyone. He knew Luis Fonsi, was able to call him up and make an entire music video for the movie.
Yeah.
Sylvester Stallone. There were so many people, surprisingly, that were willing to watch the movie and say something about it. And it was so heartwarming from the beginning to see the amount of support from celebrities that I didn't even think would be possible for a small independent film.
Yeah.
And so it's helped very much. We were able to meet Mel Gibson. He's such a great person. He's really, really an amazing guy. And we're just so happy to have the support we have.
Yeah.
But basically, it's just the movie business. The nature of it is connections. They definitely didn't come from us. We only really know financial people. But when it comes to a problem like this, people come out of the theater, and at least 1 in 3 will raise their hands, come up to us and be like, hey, I can help. I can help.
Wow.
And it's infectious. It's beautiful.
Yeah. Man, the power of connection, the power of knowing somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody.
Exactly.
That is so awesome. So I want to get into the movie, because there's a lot to it. There was 3 or 2 instances that really hit me to the core. But I want to ask you first. When you first saw it, what was the main thing that really just oh my God, really touched you?
The main thing that touched me was kind of putting together that basically every character in the film has a dream. And I don't want to spoil it for people who haven't watched it, but we have someone with a dream of being a soccer star, a fashion designer, dreaming to go to college. You have the traffickers themselves, and you're focused in on their dreams. And you come to this kind of hard realization that there's such a broken system with how this trafficking has happened across the border. And a lot of the times that like creates the horrible situations like what happened in the movie. People who aren't trafficked and are kind of just basically pay coyotes to go across the border and are totally broke and are
Yeah.
living in places like LA and can't afford anything. The only thing they know to go back to is kind of the corruption that happens in the border, the money that's made there. And it leads to people down horrible paths when in reality they just want to have a normal life.
Yeah.
And we can't forgive a lot of the things that people have done, but it is hard to see how systemic it can be in a lot of these situations. And so seeing the dreams of everyone and seeing the bigger perspective of trafficking itself made me really sad, but it made me hopeful that if we can incentivize these kinds of people who feel like they don't have a choice, that they actually do, and provide support for these people, that a lot of these cases will go away.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. So there was a scene when he was the scene that he ran away. And it was funny because I'm like watching it with my wife last night, and I see Jesus running and running, and I'm like, because I don't know about movies, I don't know about equipment, I don't know anything about that or how it works, but I'm like, who's filming this part? Like, are they on a bicycle or something? Because this kid is running fast. Who's behind it? This person has to have a nice big camera running as fast as they can. Like, how is it that they're not, or maybe they did fall in the beginning, then a lot of cuts, but how does that work? Because that's a lot of running for the cameraman.
Yeah.
How explain that?
So, although I wasn't there for filming because it happened pre-COVID, I know that a lot of the filming was done with the camera strapped to their
chest.
And or held at the chest or kept at the chest. And it's confusing for some, but it makes total sense that you want to be at the point of the view of a child. You're not like going, so everything looks a lot scarier when you're watching the movie because you see these people who are so much taller than you.
Yeah.
And I also think that strapping to the chest could be good for these kinds of scenes when you're probably booking it.
Right.
But I don't think they're using any rolling wheeled kind of vehicles. That was so fast.
Yeah, and going up the stairs and down the stairs. I'm like, what in the world? Like, not, like whoever's doing that, I gotta give it up to them. That's not easy work.
Incredible.
That's not easy work. But there was a scene that really, there was a couple of them, but I'm gonna mention one, which is not too much of a like big scene giveaway. But it was when, remember when, I forgot his name, but one of the guys pulled up at the warehouse with his son in the car. And then he got a phone call that there was a kid missing from the sweatshop, right? And the kid appeared in front of his car looking around, and he saw another boy in the car, which was the son of the other guy. And immediately the son started honking the horn. And then obviously they saw them and he had to run, blah, blah, blah. That scene touched me so much because, first of all, this kid is a little boy in the car, and he's pretty much, I mean, obviously the movie doesn't mention much about that little kid and what he knows what his father's doing, but let's just say he knows what his father is doing. He's pretty much following the footsteps of his own father, of doing something evil. Right? And even if he doesn't know really what his father's business is, the father is still preparing him indirectly. And as a father, of a 2-year-old son, like, man, that hits hard. Because I don't know if you know, but in America, men are the number, when it comes to child sexual abuse material, is taken by men in America. The number one consumers of sex of children is men. And I just see that little boy who can most likely will wind up as one of those men to abuse and maybe not directly but indirectly have
Mhm.
organization and whatnot. That scene really touched me because I was thinking about just the state that we're in as a country of so many broken boys that come from broken homes, so many people addicted to pornography, and that's another one. According to I guess a few years ago, I think it was the Polaris Project that pornography
Mhm.
is the third form of human trafficking, right? Because of
Yes.
porn. I don't know what it is now, 5 years later. And then all the issues that's happening nowadays with pornography. I don't know if you have been keeping up with the news on that,
Yeah.
but in Florida, they banned a bunch of porn websites, and now it's just age verification. Like they need to show their ID, put their government ID and all that. Even though I think porn should be banned, period. But and it's like again, it's men mostly behind this organization of human trafficking and pornography and all this kind of stuff. And just thinking about that little boy in that scene, it really, man, it's like you're preparing your son to be evil just like you.
Exactly. Yeah. Such a
You know?
powerful
Yeah,
scene.
yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
agree.
Yeah, and the movie, it's like where did these actors come from? For I really like that actor. I forgot his name. The one with the pretty much the manager at the not the warehouse, the sweatshop. The bald guy with the
He-
tattoos.
Cesar.
Yes.
Yes. So they are all Mexican actors, basically, almost every single one,
Mm,
except the cops. So that it is incredible that they were able to source it. The story about that is that specifically for the lead Ari, but most of the cast was originally found in either Mexico City or places around there. But specifically, the lead actor, he was looking for the people to choose from. They were all
mhm.
from LA, and
Yeah.
the director Mohit, he was like, they all do not fit my character. This is
Really.
horrible. They're spoiled. I do not think they could ever play this role. And so
Wow.
we went out to Puebla, where the place is based, where
Mhm.
this is trafficked from, and Ari Lopez, the actor, is from Puebla, and they based it kind of off of where he is from,
Yeah.
and he fit it perfectly. And from there, he had kind of decided that this was the perfect way to do it. And another exciting, interesting part about his role is that he doesn't talk the entire movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
My wife was like, that's what she asked. It was I don't know what part in the movie when he was already in the warehouse, in
Hmm.
the house, not the warehouse, in the sweatshop. My wife was like, does he talk? And I'm like, just watch the movie. What was the purpose of that? Of him not talking in the movie?
It can go a bunch of different ways. My
Okay.
interpretation of it, though, is that specifically migrant children who are in a different country and don't know their rights,
Mm,
they do not have a voice. They don't know how to speak the language. Even if they were, like, it's a good representation of how vulnerable they are.
yeah.
And him being a mute also kind of from his backstory about his mother dying
Hmm.
and his father having to give him away, and this whole kind of pain he suffered from very early on, I think could also be traumatic enough to make him not want to speak. And
Yeah.
um,
Even and you know what? Even though he didn't speak, besides the other guy that got beat up real bad, he was the bravest one there.
exactly.
He didn't speak, but he spoke with his actions.
So
He was
it was a very hard part to play, and
oh
so
man, yeah.
for a young kid, the director had to go scene by scene and write down what he thought that Jesus's thoughts were and give it to
Mm,
Ari, and he read them and was able to kind of get in that sentiment and that feeling and then do
wow.
the scene. But
Yeah. And how
that is
old
a
is
challenge that many actors will never ever have to face.
Yeah.
That was incredible.
And how old is he right now? I guess
He
Jesus.
is 21.
Oh wow! So when was the movie? How old was he there? Like
He was, I
teenager?
believe, 15 or 16 when the movie was
Wow! Wow!
It was
Man, that's a tough role for a 15-year-old.
Mhm.
Man,
Wild.
did he ever mention? I guess speak about. I guess after doing the movie, did he ever speak about his role and his experience and what did he say?
He definitely told us how hard it was, and how it was one of the hardest things he's ever had to do. It was one of his first films, but
Wow.
and it was funny also the director had Elena, the girl
Mhm.
who he becomes very close with,
Yeah.
to be played by another actress. The actress that actually plays her is named Renata Vaca.
Mhm.
He saw during like kind of like lunch hours during
Mhm.
filming how well they got along, and they were like really close friends and
Wow.
everything. And then he had to tell the other girl, "I'm so sorry. Like I
Oh
think
man.
that you should play the woman who's first taken by the sex trafficker."
Mhm.
And it was like a more natural role, I think. And
Yeah.
then Renata played the Elena, and
Got it.
they switched because of that kind of chemistry they had.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Wow. That makes sense. That makes sense. So in the beginning of the movie where they were out in the field, that was actually in Mexico?
mhm.
Wow, that's a huge field. I'm like, my goodness. But I only ask because again, I don't know when it comes to movies how things work and technology. Sometimes I wonder, I'm like, did they really film this in this place? Or was it like some type
CGI
you know what I'm
fake.
saying? I don't know how that works. That's why I mean it did look real anyways where he was. Obviously the soccer stadium that I think was different.
Mhm.
Right?
Yeah.
But the field, I'm like, yeah, no, that's real. That they're literally out in that field. But when I see
Mhm.
other movies, I'm like, yeah, they really didn't go over there. Like there had to be some type of, technology base and it looks so real though. So how was they in like that in this movie? It was just literally in those locations.
Yes, so they filmed in Mexico to start, and then really the rest of it was done in Los Angeles, in downtown Los Angeles.
Got
Specifically in one of the like harder neighborhoods, like kind of at the end of the film when it zooms out and
hmm
you see kind of these
Yeah.
broken down homes. Um, yeah, so it was based kind of in the LA garment district outside
Mm.
in a real neighborhood. And
Wow. Wow.
yeah,
And that place that he was in, was that a church? It looks like a broken down church, or that was just a big house.
I believe it. I believe it was. I'd have to get back to you on
Yeah.
that. I wish I was there for the filming.
Yeah.
I asked a lot of the questions to the director,
Yeah, 'cause it did from a
but
distance, it looks like it was a church, like a broken down old church that doesn't there's nothing there. That's
yeah,
what it looks like.
and
Wow.
might add on to the satirical nature of the film.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Ironic that it
Yeah.
would be a church.
Right.
Oh.
And the other guy, I could not stand him. He was weird as heck. The the
This
one that
had
went the one
wait,
that
which
went to get Jesus in Mexico.
oh yes,
My
yes.
wife was like, "This guy is weird. I don't like him."
He had like a funny kind
Yeah.
of joke to him,
Mhm.
and that became kind of sicker and less
Right.
funny as the movie went on.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, I
Yeah,
think
because given the topic itself, right? Human trafficking, and then I'm like, yeah, nah, this guy's just cuckoo in the head, like,
oh,
yeah, that's
yes.
wild. Yeah, but overall, I definitely enjoyed the movie. I mean, I would watch it again with somebody else that never watched it, and just talk about it. And I'm just, doing my part to raise awareness of human trafficking on my YouTube channel, or mostly on my TikTok, even though TikTok
Mm-hmm.
might go away very soon, but we'll see about that. Trump is
Oh,
really fighting for it to uphold it, or I don't know what the heck is going on. But either way, I still have my Instagram. I post my videos there as well.
good, good.
So
I
that's
need
like,
you to keep doing it and
yeah,
continue. They're great videos, and
for
so
sure. Appreciate it. So, what are some upcoming? Okay, so now we have this movie, and then you did mention about the other film coming up in, we said April, May,
May.
May. It's gonna come out.
Hmm.
What's the name of it?
The Prince.
The Prince. There we go. The Prince, and I'm sure a trailer will appear at some point before May. I'll be on the
Hmm.
lookout for that since I follow you guys on Instagram.
Yeah.
Yeah. And given that we are in January, we're in the middle of the month, and it is National Human Trafficking Awareness Month. What are some projects you guys have been working on, or events? What are some upcoming events that are happening in this month or next month?
Um, so we were able to partner with Miami-Dade Community College, and their head president, Madeline Pumariega, was so like impassioned by watching this film. We've reached out to a lot of different colleges, a lot of private colleges, and we haven't been receiving that much support. It's like, okay, yeah, you can screen the movie. You just have to pay $350 to for a fee or something like that. And it's really just reaching out to so many people, and you're eventually going to find the person that's going to
Yeah,
shift everything for
right,
you.
right.
We found that woman, and she is absolutely amazing. She immediately sent out her entirely team to create an educational toolkit
Mhm.
on the movie and on human trafficking to send out to every school in Florida,
Nice.
community college network of Florida. And so with that, they openly ask these colleges to do a
Mhm.
screening for Human Trafficking Prevention Month. And they sent it out yesterday, and we've already gotten 5, which is really
Wow,
exciting.
nice.
Even as north as Tallahassee,
What?
which is super great. And from there, we're going to meet with the Commissioner of Education of Florida, or in Miami,
Mhm.
Manny Diaz.
Oh yeah.
And so he has the power to go to all the other states with this app
Mm,
and ask all the other commissioners, hey, will you please share this with
yeah,
all of these colleges and continue getting the word out? We've basically offered it free to all of the educational system
yeah.
to ensure that they're
Wow.
able to have access to this, because it's hard in this day. I mean, I feel like college students have so much passion and power, and
Mhm.
a lot of the times, like, it could be for like the Israel-Palestine conflict. They're
Mhm.
very important things, and I
Yeah,
think if they can get behind something like this and kind of bring to light the amount of missing children that are within our country and how that
yeah.
is a problem, things can totally change. And I do not underestimate their power. So I really hope that this sparks a lot of conversation coming up into this new year.
Right.
So that's our biggest project, really,
Yeah.
so far, besides this other big screening. And
Mhm.
um, but yeah, we're really hoping to get it screened for as many people as possible this month, just to get the word out. And
Right.
as I keep saying, it just is so infectious the way that people want to help, and
Mhm.
so
Yeah.
it's
There's
so
yeah,
positive.
that's awesome. I went to an event on this past Saturday. It was down in Southwest Miami, and I went to a school. It's called Florida Christian School. And do you know who Our Rescue, the anti-human trafficking website, Our Rescue? They pretty much, the founder was actually Tim Ballard.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So then I
So
might be familiar with it.
yes. So they had this one lady who came, and they showed a documentary, like a 30-minute documentary of the work that they're doing, and upcoming works and all that stuff. And they had a few people speaking. Then they had one of the um a police officer from Jupiter who has a dog, and he showed us some demonstration. It was amazing. It was a beautiful black lab. Her name is Coda, and it's really the only dog in South Florida that they use to detect electronic devices or any type of devices. And from Homestead all the way to Jupiter, like we need more dogs. But the beautiful thing is that our rescue is the one that provided that. Obviously with a contract, and but he gets to keep the dog for life. Um, they paid, obviously it takes money. Is in total everything with the dog, the food, continue on, whatever is $25,000. And of course the police department, it's not a contract between the police department and our rescue, it's a contract with the our rescue and the police officer and behalf, and obviously talking with the police department if they they can have the dog. And what this guy did, he was showing us that these dogs, according to him, labs have the strongest sense of all dogs.
Mm.
And what he did is that he hid 4 devices around the room, 2 phones, and one was like a small little puny, USB or whatever.
Wow.
And I did not know that in those devices, phones, all that stuff, the people that makes them, they put a chemical inside, and the chemical is to prevent from overheating.
Mm-hmm.
Now dogs can smell that. So they use those dogs to catch predators, to catch people who had porn and all that kind of stuff. And he hid it, and he was like, okay, this is gonna happen. So he put his dog to work, and he let her loose, and she was looking. Well, obviously it was more smelling, and she sat down. And when she sits down, it's because she knows something is there. So when she sits down, he says, "Where is it?" And then it's amazing because she like moves her head, like it's right there, or jumps and when her paw hits the area, and exactly she found all 4 devices, all because of the
Wow.
food. And she said that they are so good that you can put the device for what is it, 8 to 10 inches down somewhere, whether water or anything, and the dog can smell it and find it.
Oh my God.
And then he shared one story that there was a guy who was charged for child possession, pornography, or something like that, and then eventually he was out of prison, but he was on probation, and he said that he was not allowed to have a phone, no devices, period. But he lived in an RV, and he said that it seemed like the FBI kind of figured or find out that he had a phone still, so they went to his RV to raid it and check his home and the dog, and they could not find anything. However, the dog kept pacing around, but then he stopped somewhere, and the dog was like barking or whatever, and the cop was like, "There's a reason the dog is still in this spot. Like we tried everywhere." And you know what it was? So you know how in RVs they have the top part, the vent that comes down.
Mm-hmm.
The phone was up in the vent, and the air was pushing the smell of the chemical down, and the dog was able to smell that.
Wow.
They found him, and now that guy is in prison for the rest of his life.
Oh my God.
They found more child porn, and it was just amazing, the demonstration that he did with the dog. I'm like, wow, that is so awesome. But the point I'm trying to bring is that school, they have a because there was a young 9th graders there. They have a club of anti-human trafficking club there, and I was saying maybe you could reach out to them and do a screening to have all the parents come in, or the parents that want to watch it with their kids. And because I'm pretty sure they might be, because I mean they do have an anti-human trafficking club in that school.
This is Florida Christian.
Florida Christian, yes.
It's a high school.
It's everything. I think they have from K. They might have middle, elementary, and all the way up to 12th grade.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's our challenge we find when it comes to
it's the young ones, but because they already have a human trafficking club, anti-human trafficking club, maybe that would be easier, to get in.
Exactly.
They are younger, of course. A lot of parents, they're not gonna want to earn, but because they already have that club, it might be easier for you guys. But you never know. We could try.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
Thank
so
you.
that's awesome. Of course, of course. But yeah,
Another thing I forgot to say before was we're also doing a screening in Puerto Rico
oh
on the
snap!
29th.
No
Unfortunately,
way.
I won't be able to make it there, but we're
Uh,
making a great video to go along with it,
yeah,
and it's a whole anti-trafficking event empowering Puerto Rico. So I'm
nice.
excited to see the ways that
Yeah.
these screenings can work everywhere. So,
Wow, that
yeah.
is so awesome. And you did mention offline you're gonna be doing other screenings with in Dora with Victor. Will
Mhm.
talk about that?
Yeah, so yeah, the whole human trafficking coalition um, of Doral, it'll happen in the Cultural Arts Center,
That's
but it'll
good.
be involved with the Miami government. Officials will come and speak,
Right.
and yeah, you can find any information on that um, on the events page of the Doral Cultural
Mhm,
Arts Center, or on the Quest for Freedom webpage, or on the
mhm.
Manor House Films webpage.
Ah,
But it'll be on the 31st. We got a really
what
nice
day
big
is that?
room.
What day is it?
It'll be at 6 p.m.
What day? A weekend or a weekday?
on a Saturday, I
You know,
believe.
you know what? I'm definitely most likely gonna go. Definitely.
Okay, it's actually on a Friday.
That's
I didn't
okay.
mean to say, but it'll be 6
Yeah.
p.m. on a
Yeah.
Friday. And
Most likely I'll make that
that's
my
great.
my event to go since I'll be down south anyways in Palmetto Bay
Mhm.
from work. So most likely, yeah, I'm gonna see, and maybe I can bring other people with me.
Well, that would be great.
Yeah, yeah,
It'll
that's
be a great
yeah,
event.
yeah,
Mhm.
that's awesome. But as we're closing, I just want to thank you for coming on. I just want to thank you guys for the work that you do. There's so many ways that people can collaborate. It's not just a one team thing or one person thing. Like we all need each other, right? We need to partner with Victor. We need to partner with Tanya from the Mavuno Project,
Yeah,
or different people. Because the police force, the government, they need us. You know what I'm saying? They can't do it themselves, right? We may have
exactly.
resources that they don't have. So I'm just happy. I'm just happy that you guys are doing that, and especially in the form of a movie, which is awesome. And I know upcoming movies, you make movies that matter, pretty much, like you said in the beginning of the stream, and that's what we need, right? Bring awareness, take it as far as we can, and have other projects to help. And everything starts at home, pretty much.
Mhm.
Everything starts at home. Educating parents, having healthy relationships, talking to your kids about the topic on sex, because they need to know, because if you
Exactly.
don't tell them, they already know before you think. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm in schools all the time, middle schools and high schools. These kids, they already know way more than what we think. And their parents never spoke to them about it, but they know because they have phones, they have social media, their friends have phones, so they see everything. So we have to do the job and let them know. But unfortunately, culture plays a big part as well. In the Caribbean culture, and I don't know what other cultures, sex is a taboo. They don't talk about it for many different reasons, and that's actually, in a respectful manner, a disservice to your kids when you don't talk to them at the time that they should know about this topic. Because I was never spoken about it from my parents. My parents never told me anything about sex. I learned everything mostly through porn, unfortunately, and then just friends and all that kind of stuff. So I appreciate the hard work that you guys are doing. So, any final words that you would like to share?
I would just say I'm so happy that you brought me on, and I'm so happy to be able to spread everything about the movie, but just my own feelings. And this is such a great space that you've created for so many people to share their thoughts, and specifically on human trafficking. I'm so proud of what you've created and what you've done, and your consistent, overwhelmingly like incredible passion that never stops, and you can always get people to raise awareness once a year, maybe every couple of years, but you are so consistent with your spirit and your drive, and I thank you so much for that, and I really appreciate being here with you today.
Of course, I appreciate it. And where can we find you guys?
So yes, our Instagram is Manor House Films. Our X, or formerly Twitter, page is also Manor House Films, and I think TikTok is also Manor House Films. Really, you'll find it all there. And if you want to learn more about the movie specifically, you can go to cityofdreamsmovie.com or the City of Dreams Instagram page. That's mainly where you'll find all of the information. But
and they can watch it on Amazon Prime.
Exactly.
For what,
So,
like $6,
yes.
$7 right now, right?
Exactly. You can rent it for $3.99, I believe, and then you can buy it for $9.99 on Amazon Prime, on Apple TV, as well. So there are definitely a lot of different ways you can see it. It's going to come out on Hulu at the end of this month as well for people who have Hulu. So I really encourage you to watch it. It really will change your life. It definitely changed mine. And thank you.
Awesome. Well, my friends, there you have it. We are at the hour mark, and go watch that movie. If you want to know more information, you come to me or just go on their social media pages. I'll see you next time. Peace.